Well, that sure was not a whole heck of a lot of fun. It feels a little bit more like deja vu than we had hoped. Phils drop game one of the NLDS to the LA Dodgers. The Dodgers come back on a Teoscar Hernandez 3-run home run, and the Dodgers take game one 5-3. Hello, my friends, and welcome into commiseration hour here on the PHLY Phillies podcast. Tyler Zulli, Bill Matz, Pat Egan, Ethan Hartley producing today's show. We are brought to you by our friends over at Bet365. Whatever the moment is never ordinary at Bet365. And all of our post-game sponsorship is brought to you by our friends over at TrueMark and TrueMark Financial Credit Union. And guys, you could use the word complacency to talk about the offense. You could say that Shohei Ohtani locked in after those three runs that he gave up, midway through the game. But either way, the Phillies offense was pretty lethargic tonight. Just 5 hits, 3 runs, all coming in at the bottom of the second. And in fact, other than the little bit of a rally opportunity that they had with Edmundo Sosa with 2 outs with the bases loaded, there wasn't a whole lot of life from this Phillies offense tonight. Shohei Ohtani ended up with 9 strikeouts. They turned to Tyler Glasnow to really kind of simplify this game. Alex Vesia gets the final out. Roki Sasaki gets the save. And I think this, unfortunately, falls in the category of your big players didn't make big plays.
I said pregame this was going to come down to stars coming through. None did. We saw absolutely nothing from the top of this order. All the guys making 20-plus million didn't show up tonight. And you're not going to beat a legit all-star team on the other side of the diamond if Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber and Trey Turner can't put the ball in play.
Yeah, that sucked.
Sure did.
I mean, there's no sugarcoating it. I'll add on to it. I thought Rob Thomson was horrible tonight.
I
thought he was dreadful.
We're going to get into Rob Thomson, and I understand he was a little bit at a loss because of the Harrison Bader injury, which we'll hope to maybe get an update on throughout the show. But we'll talk more about with the Rob Thomson decision-making, but it was, I saw a tweet earlier today, and it was basically surmising like, if you were getting outclassed, that's one thing, but you just kind of were making the wrong decisions.
Yeah.
It was a rough performance all around, with the exception of Cristopher Sanchez, who was really, really good tonight. But I think where we have to start, the obvious place to start, is the top of the lineup, because, Bill, as you said, that was the bread and butter, how this team was going to perform. And here's a look at what the Phillies' top 3 guys did tonight. Trey Turner, 0 for 3 with a strikeout. He did walk and was able to get to third on a base hit, and that was kind of one of their opportunities late in the game, but 0 for 3. Kyle Schwarber. Guys, I got to be honest, I thought Kyle Schwarber was dreadful tonight. I don't say that often, and I know it's one game, and I know that Kyle Schwarber has the propensity to sometimes have big strikeout nights, and that's what you get with Kyle Schwarber, and you live with it because he's been so freaking good this year. Home runs, RBI, his batting average is better. His bats against lefties have been unbelievable. His average with 2 strikes has been unbelievable. I thought this was one of Kyle Schwarber's worst games of the season, and it came at a really bad time. Bryce Harper, 1 for 4, that base hit late, but 1 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. Your top 3 hitters tonight, 1 for 11 with 1 walk and 6 strikeouts. Not a particularly strong performance from the top 3 tonight.
It was horrendous. They can't beat anybody playing like this, let alone the freaking Dodgers in the NLDS. I am terribly disappointed by basically everything we saw tonight. The inability to get Sanchez through 6 really came back to hurt them. Seemed to throw the bullpen plan completely off. And I want to go back to the second inning is where I want to go back to with that, because the defense let them down in that inning. Now, Sanchez pitches his way out of it. He was very good tonight. Mm-hmm. But you see how he ran out of gas late in that 6th inning. You can't get him into the 7th, let alone through the 6th. I look at these 2 fielders' choices that should have been double play balls that Sanchez rolled. He walks another guy. It's just a little bit of stuff that added up that threw the entire plan off. It started early, but they get out of it, so you forget about it. But it's little things like that. Get the ball out of your glove, Bo. Make a good throw, Turner. And these things, I think, came back to hurt them late, even if they didn't hurt them at the time.
Yeah, they also just didn't put together good at-bats. It was a key that we all talked about. You need to get into the Dodgers bullpen, and they never had, other than that one inning where they scored 3, obviously, they never forced Ohtani to actually, throw a lot. It was like first pitch swinging, second pitch swinging. They were going up hacking. Their approach was as bad as this game was. I mean, it was just from top down, but their approach was horrible this game, where they allowed Shohei Ohtani to go so deep into this game where Dave Roberts didn't really have to go to his bullpen. He used one actual reliever.
Sure.
And then other than that, it was Tyler Glasnow and Roki Sasaki who were starters, and that's all she wrote.
Well, and Sasaki may end up proving to be like an elite closer for the remainder of the postseason. Like if that's going to be the deployment that Dave Roberts uses for Sasaki, like they found something for the following year.
Look good the past 2 games.
But I will say this: you bring up Ohtani and not really forcing. But the one thing I will say with Ohtani, he did. I give him a little bit of credit for it, but the Phillies didn't readjust. There was an adjustment early. The Phillies got after him for those 3 runs. He was pounding the zone with the fastball. They got after him a little bit. So Ohtani and the pitching group over there did a nice job of saying, I'm going to go heavy dose of breaking ball. It's going to be a lot of slider, a lot of curveball mixed in the splitter and the sweeper. And the Phillies, those at-bats post that decision, which really came in the 3rd inning specifically, the strikeout to Schwarber, the at-bat to Harper. And then from that moment on, I think Ohtani really carved them up with a heavy dose of off-speed stuff. He went 17 sliders, 16 curveballs, 9 splitters, 8 sweepers. So right there, just on those 4 pitches alone, you're talking about, 50-some-odd pitches, almost 50-some-odd pitches that were not fastballs. You know, and I have to give him credit for doing that, but the Phillies never made the counter adjustment, and it was a lot of heavy swing over top of sliders off the back foot, off the splitter, running away to the left-handed hitters. They never made that. They never made that counter adjustment.
No, and this offense it was a shit show. I don't know what else to say. Early in the game, you get what you needed out of the bottom of this order. If you get a 2-run triple from JT Realmuto at this point, you need to win this game, and that the top of this order should be able to chase Ohtani. I know he's great. You're going to run into great pitchers in the postseason. And if you get what you get...
You're going to get another really good one on Monday.
If
Blake Snell's pitched really well.
Out of the bottom of the order and the guys at the top can't get it done, that's just a failure of the best players to come through whatsoever.
Yeah, you can live with a guy not performing well. You can live with 2. I mean, that's fine. All 3 of them to not perform again for another post-game... For another postseason game is like... It just feels like Groundhog Day. Because this is what did them in last year. Was their top of their guys, the big people in the lineup, the guys that you're paying all that money for, not performing. And to see it again at home, now your backs are against the wall. You said it best before the show started. Like, winning 3 out of 4 is tough.
Winning 3 out of 4 is hard in any situation. I think winning 3 out of 4 in a regular season series in May is hard to do. Now you have to do it.
2 on the road.
And right, 2 games 3 and 4 in Dodger Stadium is going to prove to be a difficult task. These Game 5 structures are set in such a way, it's not impossible to win a series. I'm not going to come on here and be doom and gloom and go, the season's over and the series is cooked. But it does become a much more difficult task losing Game 1, especially when you lose Game 1 at home. And they take away home field advantage. Like the Phillies, I give the Phillies fans a lot of credit. They were rabid to begin the game. But the Phillies, in turn, did not provide them anything to be rabid about late. It became a docile environment because the Phillies, for 7 consecutive innings, put up zeros on the scoreboard. And you've now seen that in Game 1 this year. You saw it in Game 1 against the Mets, where Kyle Schwarber hits the leadoff home run in the bottom of the first off Kodai Senga, and they don't score again for a bulk of the game. It became a docile environment. You saw it in Game 7 against the Arizona Diamondbacks, where the air in the stadium that night was really, really tense because it was like, there's no freaking way they're going to blow this series to a 84-win wildcard team. And the moment things skewed sideways, it became a cavernous place because the team on the field wasn't providing you a whole lot of context to be excited about. And tonight, you see it again. Like we said, 5 hits. And it was that second inning, they score 3 runs. They string together a couple of base hits. They're moving runners along. It was a really exciting, crooked number. It was the sac fly from Harrison Bader. He just missed it. It looked like he might have cleared the yard. I went almost like full-on Yankees, San Francisco Giants fan. I was ready to jump up and celebrate. I thought he hit it 400 feet. But they drive, they successfully score 3 runs. And I think there felt like there was a little bit of complacency. And it was like, we were all sitting here saying, don't get complacent. I know Ohtani's pitching well, and you have to give him credit for making the adjustments. But you cannot think that you're going to simply win this game 3-0 or 3-1 just because Sanchez is pitching well. You need to continue to at least stretch out Ohtani and get him out of the game after the 5th. And he was able to pitch well into the game because of, as you said, Pat, there's not a lot of high pitch counts in innings after that second inning.
No, they didn't put together good at-bats. That led to a complacent, not only team, but it led to a complacent ballpark where there was nothing to cheer about. I mean, look, we always talk about the home field advantage of Philadelphia, and it's a ravenous crowd, and it is to start the game. you need to give them something to cheer about. You know what I mean? And like the people that are there, they want to cheer, but when there's nothing to cheer about, like, let's be real, until the Teoscar Hernandez home run, that game was boring. Like, it was like, okay, let's speed this thing up, because there was nothing going on with the Phillies angle. I mean, other than Cristopher Sanchez getting them through the game. And then once he started losing gas, and, you know, next thing you know, Matt Strahm comes in, and, you know, the wheels kind of fell off there. So it's another example of, like, the offense, whether, I don't care who it is, you need to get the fans into it, because they're willing to have your back, but if not, there goes the home field advantage completely.
Well, Shohei Ohtani gave up 12 batted balls tonight, and 4 of them were over 100 miles an hour. 3 of those 4 came in the first 14 plate appearances of the game. Not Phillies plate appearances, of the game, which means JT's triple, which was roped. He hit it 111 miles an hour. Schwarber hit that fly out to the wall that was 108, and then Brandon Marsh's base hit was 102. They were within the first 14 plate appearances. After that, you're looking at one more ball hit hard, 105. You've got 92, 90, 87, 85, 72, 58, and 49. The Phillies did not put together any hard hit contact after that third inning for the most part.
It was a 3-and-out offense for the bulk of the game. That's really what it looked like. And when you're talking about the home field advantage, what were the 2 things coming in that were a distinct advantage, we thought? The Dodgers bullpen is not good. Well, we couldn't chase Ohtani early enough, so that doesn't become an advantage. And because of that, the crowd's dead. These are the things that lead to those big busted innings that we love to see, and none of it tonight. And it all starts with that approach. How many times the first 2 at-bats, Harper's just up there trying to blast a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. And yes, it's great when he ambushes a fastball, but the whole idea of this game is survive Ohtani, get to the bullpen. None of that came to be.
Blake Snell and Yoshinobu Yamamoto to pitch games 2 and games 3. It doesn't get easier. These 2 guys have been really good. Yamamoto's been excellent all year.
Yeah.
I expect him to finish probably top 4 in the Cy Young voting. Like, it's going to be, Skeens is probably going to win it. Sanchez will probably finish second. And then 3rd and 4th place is going to probably fall between Freddie Peralta and Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Snell pitched 10 or 11 times this year, but the last time the Phillies faced Blake Snell, he had 12 strikeouts over 6 innings. And in his last start against the Reds, he went 7 really strong innings, and he looked like he was in complete control of that game. Now, the Reds offense isn't particularly strong in terms of pop, right? They don't have a lot of OPS guys. Their highest home run hitter was Elly De La Cruz at 22. But if the Phillies have a plate approach against Snell the way that they did against Ohtani and the way that they did tonight, especially considering, you know, Snell's done an excellent job of neutralizing the lefties that have been in this lineup, it's hard to foresee changes happening in the next 48 hours. Like, if you run back the same offensive approach, Blake Snell may have the same type of outlook that Shohei Ohtani did tonight.
Yeah, and I'm really worried about a panic approach from Rob Thomson because of this game, meaning, like, you just named 2 really good pitchers, right? And Yamamoto actually faced adversity, much like Ohtani did in this game. Yamamoto faced it in his last performance against the Reds. And I think the first inning, when there was an error from Teoscar Hernandez, the Reds scored 2 runs. Then he shut them down. Like, he pitched like it was like 25 pitch inning, and then the Reds had nothing. So it's a very similar situation. I'm worried that Thompson is going to start panicking and counter with like a piggyback of Aaron Nola, who I never want to see again, and like Walker Buehler or Taijuan Walker, like just to get that righty situation in there, because I don't really think it benefits the Phillies, but at this point, their backs are against the wall, whether you like it or not. They've been here before. I don't know. It's reminding me a lot of like the second Hangover movie when Phil wakes up and he's like, "Oh my God, we did it again."
We did it again.
Like this, but it's not fun. I mean, that movie was horrible, but much like this game. But you get my point.
So obviously, it's been announced that Jesus Luzardo is going to start on Monday, right? And that is probably the right decision because his stuff is nasty. Bill, you and I talked about it a couple weeks ago. Like, outside of those 2 horrendous starts, Jesus Luzardo is sporting like a 3.0 ERA.
Yeah.
And he had a 3.9 despite the fact he had those 2. He gave up 20 earned runs in like 3 innings.
5 1/3, I think it was.
A quarter of his runs this season have been given up in 2 starts. And so when you turn to Luzardo, you're feeling good on the defensive pitching side of things because you feel like he's pitched well for a bulk of the season. He's had a lot of big game starts this year. He's pitched well against the Mets. He's pitched well against the Cubs. He's had some good starts, or he had a good start against the Dodgers early in the year. The second one, I think he gave up 4, but he pitched okay. He's pitched against some really good opponents. But now you do put the onus on Luzardo to say, hey, listen, man, like, you're going to need to go shove. You're going to have to go shove because if you don't, our backs are really going to be up against the wall.
No, I have all the confidence in the world in the starting pitching, at least keeping the game close, if not outright winning it. But someone has to come through in a big spot. We have not seen that yet, and it's been the issue with this offense since they got no hit in the World Series, really. We have seen the exact same offense. They've tried to change their approach. They've changed the order. A couple pieces are different. But really, since that 5-home run game against the Astros, we've seen the exact same offense in every series.
All right, let's pause. On the other side, I want to get into the pitching matchup because, we do have some good things to talk about. Cristopher Sanchez, I thought for the most part, was really, really good tonight. We can talk about decision-making by Rob Thomson. Pat, you asked me the question, hindsight being 2020, how would you have handled this situation? Probably look at it a little bit differently. We'll go through all of that on the other side. We still have to get into our thoughts on how this was handled in terms of pinch hitting with Nick Castellanos. We'll try to get an update on Harrison Bader's health. They said it was a groin injury, not a hamstring. I don't know if that means it's better or worse.
That's not bad.
But it doesn't make you feel any better tonight for Harrison Bader and for the next couple of days. So it's the PHLY Phillies post-game show here after a 5-3 loss to the LA Dodgers in Game 1 of the NLDS. That's Pat Egan. That's Bill Matz. I'm Tyler Zuli. Ethan Hartley. We'll check in with him in just a little bit, and we'll talk to all of you in the chat. I want to say hello to all of our regulars and all of our new faces as well right here on the PHLY Phillies podcast. All right, listen, if your home needs a little TLC or you're thinking about taking that big trip or you just want to be able to have your money when you need it, that's where our friends at TrueMark Financial come into play because the TrueMark Financial HELOC Select just got even better. Rates have now dropped and it's making it more affordable to put your home equity to work. If you need a new kitchen or you've got big repairs, maybe you set your microwave on fire and you got to figure out how to fix that. I don't know what moron on this show would do that, but with HELOC Select, you can access your cash all at once or when you need it. It's got total flexibility, just like a good game plan. You can make it happen today. Visit one of TrueMark's 24 branches or head on over to TrueMark.com/PHLY 24/7 and get in the game today. Federally insured by the NCUA, Equal Opportunity Lender, NMLS 404938.
When the weather turns chilly, the last thing you need is yet another home project getting added to the list. And Ace Hardware Home Services, they bring trusted local pros right to your door to help you get your home ready for the colder months. From heating tune-ups and plumbing fixes to generators and emergency repairs, their experts handle it all. There's never any guesswork. There's never any stress. Just a local pro to get the job done right, and your satisfaction at Ace, it is always guaranteed. So find the help you need for your next home project at AceHardwareHomeservices.com.
All right, welcome back to the PHLY Phillies post-game show after a 5-3 loss to the LA Dodgers in Game 1 of the NLDS. We're brought to you by our friends over at TrueMark Financial Credit Union and Bet365. Hello to everybody in the chat. We have a lot of people here today, and so first of all, I want to say a big thank you to all of our regulars who have been here with us for the entirety of the season. We love you all. We can't thank you enough, but I love all of our new folks and faces as well, whether you are here from Philly. I see some Dodgers fans in the chat. I know they're getting after it.
Suck it.
Last year, Jamie Lynch double and tripled down at the Mets fans that came into our chat. And there are still some Mets fans that show up from time to time on the show now in 2025. Playing a dangerous game if the Dodgers fans start showing up too.
You know what? I didn't even know there were Dodgers fans, quite honestly. I just thought it was a bunch of movie stars who get paid to be there. And people who just like the hats, because the hats are cool. But to all of the Dodgers fans, thank you for joining us. Suck it.
So you doubled down anyway.
I don't blame him.
I know it's a post game, and maybe we can curse, but I can't say everything I'm thinking right now. L.A.
I don't blame him, honestly, for coming. I mean, looking at miserable me, I get it. I'm self-aware enough to be like, yeah, I'd probably, if I was a Dodgers fan, want to see my miserable face right now.
You know what would really piss me off, Dodgers fans? You know how you could really get us? Hit the like button.
Hit the subscribe button?
Hit the like button,
Hit
and
that
that would
bell
teach me a
icon.
lesson. If you hit the thumbs up, I will be personally hurt by that just as much as I was the game tonight.
All right, so let's get into some of the good tonight. And the good, I think, was Cristopher Sanchez.
I'm sorry. I just saw a comment, and it's just, y'all effing lost. What do you want us to do, man? We got to do the show.
I got an hour post-game show. I got to fill content somehow.
What, you want us to like go home and go to Wawa?
I didn't lose anything.
Oh my God, I had no idea they lost.
All right, so let's get into
great tonight.
Let's get into the good today, because I thought it was a really excellent pitching matchup. And we talked about Ohtani and how good he was after that three-run second inning. Let's take a look at the numbers between Cristopher Sanchez and Shohei Ohtani tonight, which ended up being both of those guys pitching at least into the sixth. Shohei getting through six, Sanchez 5 2/3. 2 earned runs for Sanchez, 3 for Ohtani, just those 3 in the second inning. A high strikeout game for both teams. Sanchez with 8, Ohtani with 9, 4 hits and 3 hits. It was we talked about it at the pregame show. First team to blink, first team to make the mistake was probably going to be the team that was going to lose this game. And unfortunately, the Phillies were that team tonight. I thought it was really good outings from both of these guys. The one thing I did want to talk about tonight with Cristopher Sanchez, and this is where we get into our newest segment today. Ooh. And this is it. I thought it was going to be a good transition until I didn't have the read ready. This is this is where we get into our Ace Hardware Home Services Built to Last segment, where we are going to get into which of these players or teams are built to last, and we're presented by the most trusted partner for home preservation, Ace Hardware Home Services. From heating and cooling to plumbing and electrical, they've got the pros to make sure your home's ready for the final stretch of the year. And despite the loss, I think Cristopher Sanchez is made and built for the postseason. Guys, tonight, Cristopher Sanchez, his changeup was electric. And I thought there was a part in the game. It was really great early. It was really great late. There was a part like in the 3rd and 4th inning where I thought he was pulling too much on it and he was spiking it a little bit. But he ended up throwing the changeup 38 times tonight, 40% of the pitches. As we expected, 31 of those 38 changeups came to the right-handed hitters in the Dodgers lineup. Guys, he generated 12 whiffs on 19 swings. 63% of the Dodgers swings on the changeup tonight ended up in whiffs. He got 47% called strike and whiff rate percentage. 24 of those 38 pitches for changeups were either called strikes or swings and misses. And despite the fact that only 26% of those pitches were in the zone. As always, Cristopher Sanchez knew what he was doing with the changeup. I thought he was really good with it against Teoscar Hernandez. I thought he threw a couple really good ones to Kike Hernandez later in the game. And he threw a couple on the inner half to Shohei early, which I didn't expect, because the way that they've faced Shohei Ohtani, who, by the way, was 0 for 4 tonight himself. The Dodgers' top of the lineup didn't produce either. Ohtani wasn't good. Betts wasn't very good. Teoscar Hernandez obviously had the 1 home run, which was the difference maker. But those 3 guys tonight were 1 for 13. It just so happened that the 1 was critical. But the thing with Ohtani was they just basically said, we're going to pitch you inside. We're going to make you uncomfortable. We're going to run the sinker on your hands. And then he dropped a couple changeups inside that I was surprised at. But the changeup was really good tonight.
It was, yeah. And during the game, you said, if I could see his heat map right now, I think it would just be nothing but red at the bottom
down
of the zone.
and away.
He keeps the ball down in the lower third, and that's really important. And that gets me back to the defense. You got to know the ground ball is coming. Maybe you're able to get a little complacent because he is striking everyone out early, but you have to know those ground balls are coming. And stuff like that, when it's, those extra 5, 8, 10, 12 pitches don't feel like a lot, but all right, now here comes David Robertson. Here comes Matt Strom. Way earlier, throws the whole bullpen off. It's a shame the way this went for Sanchez because he was so good.
They got productivity. The Dodgers did. I mean, we talked about Kike Hernandez. He had a hit. Tommy Edman had a hit. Alex Call had a hit. Andy Pages had a hit. They got 4 hits tonight from the bottom 5 of their lineup. Now, we talked about it in the pregame show, like the bottom of their lineup at times when Muncie's in and Pages is hitting. I know he struggled in the wild card round, but when he's hitting and we get to postseason Kike Hernandez, he's always hitting. But it was a difference tonight. The bottom of their lineup had 5 hits. The bottom of the Phillies lineup had 5 hits. But it was the one swing of the bat from Teoscar Hernandez that really kind of changed the course of this game. I thought it was a well-pitched game up into that point. And then from there, I think things kind of deviated quickly for the Phillies. And I think in part due to David Robertson coming back out for the 7th, decision-making about using Strom versus Banks, which we'll get into. But up until that moment, until the 6th inning, I thought it was a pretty well-pitched game on both sides.
It was. I mean, it was very well-pitched. It was boring. I mean, that's how good of, and I'm using that as a compliment. Like, that's how good of a pitching matchup it was, because you had 2 guys just shutting down the opponent completely. But you said it. Like, you got production on both sides from the top of each or the bottom of each team's lineup. The Dodgers had that one swing. They had the one guy who came up clutch. The Phillies have not had the one guy who come up clutch in probably 2 years now. So that's the big difference. I mean, the pitching was great. And it was a lot like last year, game 1 against the Mets. Like, Zach Wheeler was fine. He wasn't the problem.
Yeah.
The problem wasn't Cristopher Sanchez. He did his job. It was other things.
It was basically everything else.
Yeah.
There were at least 8 guys at fault. He wasn't one of them.
No. Yeah. They need to go to Ace Hardware and
Get
like
this thing fixed.
and like just grab a clutch at bat, because that's the thing. It's like, just start striking out late in the game. I don't need bases loaded. I don't need to get pumped up. Okay, I don't need to be singing Love Sosa. And there I am singing Love Sosa, and then boom, it's like, oh, 2 outs, he's out.
Well, and so I will tell you, with the days off involved, Cristopher Sanchez very likely can pitch in Game 5 if they get to a Game 5, which should give you hope, because you saw tonight he can handle this Dodgers lineup, at least keep them off balance for 5 or 6 innings. I will say this, and that was our Built to Last segment, which is brought to you by our friends over at Ace Hardware and Ace Hardware Home Services. Head on over to acehardwarehomeservices.com to check out their your latest project. The numbers in a best of 5, which was introduced in 1995, they're heading into this year. There had been 88 best of 5 series in the DS portion of Major League Baseball postseason. 63 times of those 88, Game 1 winner went on to win the series. 72% of the time.
I don't need to hear that.
The Phillies have an uphill climb, no question about it. And as we said, before the show started, winning 3 out of 4 is going to be hard.
That stat makes me mad about the performance of the best hitters tonight, quote unquote best hitters on the Phillies roster, as well as it makes me mad about 2011 all over again, which I really don't feel like I need to be mad about, 15 years later, but here we are.
Oh, I guess they were one of the teams that did not win the best of 5 after winning Game 1.
Yeah.
Well, you and I talked about this earlier this week. Game 2 was the reason they lost that series, in my opinion.
So perhaps that can be the case again, just in reverse.
All right, so let's talk about decision-making. And hindsight, of course, is 2020. We know that. We understand that we, sitting on the couch, have the benefit of saying, why would you make that call after it happens? We all can do that. Cristopher Sanchez comes out of the game after 5 2/3. David Robertson comes into the game, gets the ground ball out. He's able to, Max Muncy tops one back to him, flips it over to first, gets out of that jam. Rob Thomson sends David Robertson back out for the 7th inning. And I guess now we know he gives up the 2 earned runs. He doesn't record an out in the 7th inning. He hits a batter. He gives up a base hit. Matt Strahm comes in, gives up the inherited runs. In that particular moment, would you guys have gone back to David Robertson for the 7th? Or, again, it's hindsight, I understand. Or with a fresh inning, would you have perhaps turned to a Ryan Kerkering?
Yeah, we've talked about this a lot, Tyler. It's my thing with David Robertson. It's kind of the same here. Can we just not use him days in a row, and having him go sit down, cool down, and get back up? That's basically the same thing. The man is 40 years old. I think you can count on him for some high leverage outs. But he can't do this. He can't do this at this age. Let's go sit down for a few outs, and then I got to get back up. It's just not going to work. That was a very predictable outcome, that he gets pulled before recording an out.
Or I guess the alternative, I said Kerkering. You could have turned the ball over to Strahm with a clean inning as well.
I would have turned the ball over to Strahm. I never liked the idea of relievers coming in, getting an out or 2, going down, sitting, just like you said. When you talk to former relievers about it, they're so amped, and then all of a sudden the adrenaline comes down, and now they need to get it back up. But on top of it, I didn't think David Robertson looked like he had good stuff tonight, like from the jump. So to put him back out there, he gives up the 2 runners. Then you're bringing in Matt Strahm, who came into 8 appearances or whatever?
8.
It's 8 inherited runners
all season.
All season.
So why are you bringing him in that spot when he is not used to it? Why wouldn't you bring in Banks in that spot, which is what I would have done, because now you're throwing him in there, and it's like Carlos Estevez all over again. It's like inherited runner problem.
Tanner Banks saw 4 times as many inherited runners this year that Matt Strahm did. He faced 32 inherited runners this season, which was the 42nd most in all of baseball. Strahm, meanwhile, like we said, was 8. He was 274th.
So I don't understand a lot. Like, you've got Rob Thomson, who completely abandoned his entire line of thinking all season long. In the biggest moment of the season, he goes, no, you know what? Uno reverse. What? That just makes no sense.
I have been a Topper supporter for really, since they brought him in. But this stuff where you seem to make a panic move.
Yep.
It's just, okay, well, I gotta change the entire strategy that I've had for 162 previous games. Like, I don't know, use guys in the role that they excel in. Strom is good with a clean inning. He's not good with with men on base. This seems
we just
like
haven't
pretty
seen
simple
it, right? The sample size has been small.
because you don't trust him. There's no reason to only have 8 times he comes in with inherited runners if you trusted him in that situation. They clearly don't. So why count on him in what is the biggest game of the season?
So I am a huge Matt Strom fan. I may be the biggest Matt Strom fan that there is. I think he pitches with moxie. I think, quite frankly, he pitches with balls. He doesn't throw particularly hard. He doesn't have the wipeout stuff, but he'll go right after you and attack you. Strom and Kerkering have excelled when they get clean innings. Banks has done a much better job of the dirty work stuff. Robertson, I guess, is probably your righty dirty work stuff guy just by default based on Kerkering being the other option. I think tonight you either have to start the inning with a new reliever and make it Strom, because Matt Strom, the one thing he does really, really well is he doesn't mind facing righties. He's able to go up and he'll throw a fastball up on the hands and then work the breaking stuff down and away. He's willing to attack right-handed hitters, and he's done it for, 3 years now since moving into the Phillies bullpen in mid-May or whatever it was back in 2023. He's been one of their most reliable relievers. He was an all-star a few years ago. I think that he's the guy that you feel confident in pitching to righties and lefties heading into the clean inning. And Banks is the guy that's going to do the dirty work because he fools hitters. He's the guy that gets hitters off balance. He doesn't throw particularly hard himself, but he has some wonky delivery. It's a little bit goofy. It's a little bit unorthodox, but it works. And he's the guy that gets you out of those kind of gross jams. I think tonight not using Banks in that spot was weird. I think allowing Robertson to start the 7th was trying to play with fire a little bit and get 3 more outs, or even if it was going to be an out or 2 that he really was unable to accomplish. I think tonight that 6th and 7th inning, managerial-wise, was really, really poor work by Rob Thomson.
That was the game.
Yeah.
That was the entire game.
It certainly was. And listen, the lineup needs to hit. If you come in with inherited runners, you need to do your job, all that. But these decisions all sort of add up. It's just these little things in a short series. Oh, yeah, 1 or 2 mistakes, 1 or 2 wrong calls, 1 or 2 panic moves. They're going to be going home.
Yeah, I like relievers, baseball players in general, they're creatures of habit. I mean, Tyler, you played the game, so you know.
Not well, but...
No, you were horrible. But that's not the point. You're a vibes guy, and that's okay. But you know that, like, guys like to know what they're doing, the situation, you know. You're at home in the playoffs, and you divert from the creature of habit situation. You go, all right, Matt Strom, you probably haven't done this in, 2 months, but get in there with inherited runners and try your best. I don't really necessarily blame Matt Strom on this one. I just think he was put in a bad situation that he's not accustomed to, and he didn't come up. And that's on the manager. I mean, because the broadcast had that immediately. As soon as he came in, the broadcast had that stat of 8 inherited runners.
He doesn't do this. Let's see how it goes.
So if the broadcast has it, Topper has it. And now I'm curious of is he built for the playoffs? Or is he just a panic move manager? Because I've always been a fan of him too. I've defended the guy, but this was just inexcusable to me.
Well, and the one thing I do want to say, because I've seen it in the chat a couple times now with, heading into this game too, I think there's a difference between the Phillies are back, their backs are against the wall, and they're facing a guy that they at times have historically not hit very well. And in the last time out, Blake Snell really carved them up for double-digit strikeouts. And inversely to say, well, the Phillies don't hit left-handed pitching, because that's not true. The Phillies have the 8th best batting average in baseball against left-handed pitching this year. They're 253. The Dodgers are 255. Slugging-wise, the Phillies are in the top 10. They're at 6th. OPS, the Phillies are in the top 10. They're at 6th. Your 2 best hitters have hit lefties this year. Kyle Schwarber has been matchup-proof because of his ability to hit lefties. Bryce Harper, at times this season, has hit lefties. Now, the likelihood is Edmundo Sosa is probably going to start at second base on Monday, and I think you're going to see Nick Castellanos in right field, much to the delight of Pat Egan here.
Love it.
But I think that, obviously, you're going to get a lefty in center field, because I don't know if Harrison Bader is going to be available. So if he's not,
I doubt it.
Brandon Marsh will probably play center, and Max Kepler will play left. So or Weston Wilson will play left. So you're down one of your better hitters, especially one of the guys that was carrying the second half mantra and really took off since being traded to the Phillies, you could be down him in game 2. We'll get an update. He may be fine, but he may not be. And groins and hamstring, they're difficult to predict.
Does the Bader injury change your opinion of Topper's moves with how he utilized the outfield and bringing Casty as the pinch hitter?
In the moment, yeah, because I turned to both you guys. I was like, what is he doing?
Yeah, we all thought it was insane.
What the hell is he doing seemed to be the opinion in the room, on Twitter, in the stadium.
Yeah, you're not pinch hitting for Max Kepler. You're pinch hitting for the guy that is actually a really good hitter, but also a really good fielder. You're making your outfield worse. And then obviously the injury news came out and it was like, all right, well, that kind of makes sense.
Well, then we basically all looked at it and said, okay, so he's going to empty his bench tonight because what was going to happen was Sosa pinch hits. You were probably going to then you were going to have to turn to Wilson in the outfield or whatever the counter move was going to be. Like the only guy left available in the 9th inning, if something were to have happened, was Rafael Marchand at that point. So I know his hands were tied a little bit by losing. I would say Harrison Bader is your most versatile outfielder because A, he's probably your best defensive outfielder. B, he can hit righties and lefties, so he's going to play against both sides of the plate. And C, I think he is the guy that you would least likely pull from a game late to get a matchup. Like you might pull Castellanos to get Kepler against a righty. You might pull Marsh to get Wilson, or in this case, like we saw Sosa pinch hit, right, to get a righty against the lefty. You may see those situations. With Bader in the lineup, that's kind of your rock steady center fielder where it's like, yeah, he's a right-handed hitter, but against right-handed pitching, we're going to leave him in these spots because he's earned it over the last month and a half, 2 months of the season.
I think they overplay the lefty-righty stuff sometimes. It doesn't matter in the first 5-6 innings of the game. It doesn't matter for the closer. It's just these matchups they try to get in the middle of the game. They seem to chase sometimes. That is very frustrating.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that.
All right, so
no notes, just really good point.
Let's pause. We'll get into not tomorrow. It should be tomorrow. I wish they were playing tomorrow. But we'll get into Monday's game a little bit. We'll talk about what a lineup could look like if Harrison Bader is not available. We'll talk about the pitching matchups a little bit more. We have about a half an hour left. We got to check in with our buddy Ethan Hartley. We haven't heard from him just yet on today's show either, so we'll check in with him as well. It's the PHLY Phillies podcast, the PHLY Phillies post-game show, as the Phils drop game 1 to the Dodgers 5-3 and have kind of lost home field advantage, if you will. We'll talk about game 2 on the other side. It's the PHLY Phillies podcast. We'll be right back after this. All right, get your home ready for cozy season during Ashley's Fall Savings event, which is happening right now. Discover the season's warmest and coziest hot buys from every room in your house. From stylish living rooms to welcoming dining rooms, relaxing bedrooms, you'll find beautiful looks that start at just $299. And right now, buy today and pay later with no interest for 60 months. Because fall, it's not just a season, it's a feeling. Visit your local Ashley showroom and start saving today.
Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. From the 90 million users worldwide to the almost 800,000 events live streamed each year. And you know, I love the early payout offer, which is available for the Major League Baseball playoffs. If you have a team on the money line or as a part of a parlay and they go up 5 runs, no need to sweat the rest of the game. You're automatically a winner. And then, hey, who says you can't come back, double down, or if you see that bullpen coming in and you think it's a little shaky, why not go the other way? Try to profit twice off the same game. And right now, we have breaking news from Bet365. New customers now get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5, win or lose. All you got to do is sign up, use the code PHLY365, deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 to get $200 in bonus bets, whether your initial bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older, physically located in PA. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Listen, you know fall isn't just a season, it's a feeling. So visit your local Ashley showroom and start saving today with incredible features for your dining room, a relaxing bedroom, a stylish living room. It all starts at just $299. Get ready for a cozy season during Ashley's Fall Savings event that's happening now. You can discover the season's warmest and coziest hot buys for every single room in your house. And again, start today. Restrictions and exclusions may apply. Welcome back to the PHLY Phillies postgame show. I'm Tyler Zulli. That's Bill Matz. That's Pat Egan, Ethan Hartley producing today's show. Hello to everybody in the chat, whether you be here in the Delaware Valley or across the country checking in to gloat a little bit.
Or across the globe.
Across
We
the
have
globe.
Somebody from Japan during pregame.
It's true, and the beauty of internet and YouTube. First of all, it lives forever, so congratulations on that. And
I'm immortal now.
yeah, well, I guess in theory, yeah, your good takes and your bad takes,
All of them.
yeah. Like bad takes about if a defensive tackle might be a bust, and then he goes on to block a game-winning field goal.
Sometimes you like being wrong, you know? Sometimes.
I had to bring it
No,
up.
it's fine. I mean,
Let's talk about that more than this game. Quite
I would rather talk about the happy moments.
All right, so we haven't had an opportunity yet to check in with our fourth member of today's show. It's our producer, our friend Ethan Hartley. Ethan, you sat and watched this game with us. You know there was a lot of emotion, a lot of F-bombs being shouted. And I'm glad that I got to sit with you three guys today because I said to you all, if I sat and watched this game with my wife, she might want to have me like institutionalized. But that's just how this is going to go for the rest of the postseason.
Yeah, that's playoff.
Ethan, your first PHLY Phillies postgame show in terms of the postseason obviously didn't go according to plan. Anything you'd like to add for the first 40 minutes or so of the show that we didn't get into, or on top of what we already talked about?
I mean, you hit it right at the top of the line, right at the top of the show, but the top of the lineup, just for how much money they get to just again and again now, right? Like you talk about creatures of habit. Like this is the habit that they're now instilling in themselves when it comes to the biggest moments that they have to play. Like just to flop again and again from last year, continuing over. It's like what do we learn for a full year? That you need to step up and you are being paid to do so. It blows my mind. I just that infuriates me most of all, just because of how much money they get and just not changing the habits that, it falls on them ultimately, right? This is why you get paid the big amount of dollars and why you step up in the biggest moments. Just non-existent again.
Nobody met the moment.
Oh, and this is why I continue to argue about the argument every year happens, whether your team wins the division and gets the bye or has to play in the wild card round. It's the rest versus rust thing. And my argument has always been, if you have earned the right to get the bye and not have to have some kind of crazy upset happen in the wild card round, you have earned the right to stack your rotation in the way that you want it to. If you've earned the right to stack your bullpen and get it rested heading into the postseason, you have the advantage. And tonight, the Phillies squandered that advantage. Now, granted, most of the time in a game 3, it'd be the third game for the Dodgers, you're not getting a pitcher of Shohei Ohtani's caliber, but the Phillies squandered an opportunity tonight with home field advantage, with a rested Cristopher Sanchez, with a team that hadn't had to face a wild card setting, and they squandered that opportunity tonight, and now it's part of the reason as to why they're down 1-0 in the series.
Yeah, and look, we said it before the game, but you weren't facing the hot team. I mean, the Dodgers are a very good team. Everybody knows that, right? And we all agreed, the winner of this is probably the best team in baseball. But you weren't facing that scorching hot team that it was oh crap. The Mets had that feel last year.
Sure.
When Pete Alonso hit the home run off Devin Williams, I said some words that I probably can't say here, but they weren't good ones because you knew that is the hot team coming in the CBP. This wasn't the case, and I just felt like there was two evenly matched teams where you got a clutch hit when you needed it from Teoscar Hernandez, and the Phillies got what they've got in the past handful of playoff games from their big guys. And Ethan's right. That's the creature of habit form. I'm praising Bryce Harper before the game for being that clutch factor and coming up big in moments, and he just didn't. And look, I understand baseball is a sport of failure, but in a best of 5, you don't really have you can't really afford the luxury of having that failure. You need one of those guys to come up big, and they didn't.
Well, again, for the most part, Cristopher Sanchez and the Phillies rotation and the Phillies pitching staff did a nice job with the Dodgers' top 4, but one guy had one swing, and it was enough to change the outcome of the game. I know somebody said that, Freddie Freeman got on twice. He did. Freddie Freeman got on twice. Kike Hernandez was on once. Andy Pages was on once. But the big swing of the top 3 was really all that they needed to propel them, because the rest of that group, Shohei Ohtani, 0 for with 4 strikeouts. Mookie Betts wasn't particularly sharp. Hit a couple balls hard, but they were foul. The mouse just went running across the floor. I just saw him.
We spotted him.
Yeah, he's
Rally
here.
mouse.
I don't deal with those well.
Oh, we have mice in this building. It's bad.
I do not deal with mice
Pat
well
might be out the door.
No, I know.
They're our friends.
I wish you never said that.
I'm sorry,
them
I shouldn't have said
cereal.
anything.
I'm terrified of mice.
Let's try to get back to
This
baseball.
is not a joke.
You might have to do the show from perched up on your seat like a
that's
gargoyle.
Yeah, that's me when it comes to mice.
is going to be like,
please continue.
Anyway, you get the one swing. That was the difference maker.
That was I showed you that tweet before we went live. Prior to the home run, the top three in each lineup had combined to go 0 for 20 with 12 strikeouts. Like it was very much the bottom of the orders are going to get this done. We're going to need one big hit from somebody in the top of this order. Dodgers got it. It's just that simple. Yes, 162 games. Everyone gets to the back of their baseball card. It's all about the sample size. The playoffs are about moments. Just takes one. The Dodgers got it.
And I said it earlier, but it's stupid. It pisses me off that they gave us hope at the end. It really does. You're going to sit there and toy with my emotions and load up the bases and make the drama, right? And I got the broadcast, oh, what a game. And I'm like, no, it's not a good game, but it could be. And then it's a fly ball to center. Don't do that. Don't toy with my emotions.
That was a very, very disappointing ending. Just to have them loaded up in the eighth and come away with absolutely nothing we've seen it so many times.
Well, and the fact that they finally started grinding out decent at bats in the eighth friggin' inning. It took you 8 innings to catch on to the fact of all right, let's grind out an at bat. A walk's as good as a hit, right? And no, and at that point, I don't know about you guys, but I walked to the bathroom. I was like, that's the game.
Well, so you bring up the moments, right? And you think about the moments that have dictated the last couple of games in the postseason, the big games in the postseason that the Phillies have played. You go back to the 2022 World Series. I think about Chas McCormick's catch up against the fence. That ball drops or gets over his head, Phillies might win that game. And this is going to be a lot of shoulda, coulda, woulda. So, this is not me pontificating on, the Phillies should have won tonight. They should not have won tonight. They played pretty horrible baseball, and they've played some pretty abysmal playoff baseball the last couple of years. But Chas McCormick makes the play. The ball that Trey Mancini picks at first, he comes in as the defensive replacement. Ball gets scorched down the line. I forget if it was Reese or if it was Harper or whoever it was. Scorches it down the line in the World Series. He back picks it, double play. That inning's over. Kind of ends that one, right? I go to the Diamondback series. Corbin Carroll in the deciding game 7 goes 3 for 4. The Phillies did not get the offense that they were looking for in that game.
I would have went Alec Thomas.
You get the Alex Thomas home run against Craig Kimbrell.
That
changes
sits with me.
Right, changes the dynamic of that game. Francisco Lindor grand slam off of Carlos Estevez. Now that really wasn't. That just felt like waiting for the other shoe to drop at that point.
Did it ever?
But again, big moments, and we've seen other teams rise to the occasion. And tonight, Teoscar Hernandez etches another chapter in that story that the Phillies have unfulfilled.
The 0 for 3 prior to that didn't matter. He's the hero of the game.
Right.
Yeah, and what sucks too is the fact that, and the broadcast said it, you get to see John Duran, and it's not in a safe situation. And
Sure.
it's this is the first year the Phillies have really, truly had a closer.
A legitimate closer.
Because the other year was the Craig Kimbrell situation, and he was out of gas, and everybody knew it. And other than that, every year they go in the playoffs, it's the closer by committee BS. And they finally have a guy that can shut you down in the ninth, which, by the way, he did again, right? But it doesn't matter because you're losing the game. And it sucks.
And now they've gotten a few looks in the last couple of weeks at that guy who you might need in game 2, game 4, whatever. And you've kind of wasted one of those bullets already.
All right, so Blake Snell's going to get the start for the Dodgers on Monday. A 5-4 record this year, 2.35 ERA. I think he made 11 starts, 72 strikeouts. Blake Snell has, for the most part over his career, been pretty easy to pinpoint. Guy who throws a lot of pitches, oftentimes a 5 or 6 inning pitcher, strikes a lot of hitters out. If his command is good, he's going to go deeper into games. If it's not, I think about Snell, I think about Dylan Cease, those type of guys. Even Tyler Glasnow at times in his career have been those types of guys that if you can sit them out and wait them out. But if they throw strike one, like Snell has done a really good job of doing this season, and he did a really good job of both years he won the Cy Young in the AL and in the NL, when he throws strike one and gets ahead, he becomes really difficult to hit. Power lefty pitcher, good wipeout breaking ball, good stuff. As I said, the Phillies as a team have hit lefties fairly well this year. But I think, in the last start that you watched these two teams match up with Blake Snell, it was 12 or 13 strikeouts in a really solid, 6 or 7 innings pitched. I forget if it was 6 or 7, but he was really, really effective and kind of carved up the Phillies. With the back against the wall now, and I know I've used that phrase a couple of different times, I think you're going to need one of your right-handed hitters to step up and run into one and spark something to get on Blake Snell early. You got on Shohei Ohtani early tonight. You didn't capitalize. If you find a way to get on Blake Snell early on Monday night, you have to capitalize. Easier said than done with a guy of his caliber, though.
Blake Smell, in my opinion. No, I mean,
Got him.
The lowest hanging fruit. Like you went
ass.
with the absolute Philly Barstool comment right there.
100%.
And I don't mean Barstool the company. I mean sitting on a bar stool with your buddies.
Either one, lowest common denominator. Love you, Barstool. JK.
Yeah, you're going to get it. Yeah, no, you're
Fine.
done.
That's fine. I'm in
It's the last time we ever saw Bill.
I'm in a mood tonight. No, and I think if you need one of the righties to run into something, that's where we get to your boy. Like that's kind of his whole job, right?
Yeah,
like,
no, 100%.
That's Nick Castellanos
This could
right
be horrible
there.
for me.
Are we at the point already after one postseason game where it's save us, Nick? Like that's
Yeah.
where we are at this point with the lineup?
We need Liam in the stands. We need Nick Castellanos with like 4 buttons undone. And that's when we know we're getting good Nick. But look, when they went to the World Series that year, they ended up doing so primarily doing what you just said and getting to the starting pitcher and hitting the Yu Darvishes of the world, right? And that's how they ended up really propelling themselves, like the Spencer Striders. That's how they got there. You need to do it again. Like you cannot have a situation like we saw tonight where guy gives up a couple runs and then all of a sudden you can't figure him out.
Locks in.
And you thought at one point, okay, he'll be out by the 5th and we can actually do what we all said, dip into the bullpen. And instead, no, you can't figure him out. He ends up going 6 and it looks great. Like you cannot have that happen again.
So in that second inning against Shohei Ohtani, Alec Boehm leads off the inning with a 6-pitch walk. It was a really effective
Really good
walk.
walk, yeah.
He took a couple of tough pitches and he works out the walk. Brandon Marsh, 5-pitch base hit. Right there. That is what we were talking about in the pregame was like the middle of the bottom portion of the lineup, grinding out at bats to turn it over to the top of the lineup. Now, we weren't expecting the top of the lineup to be as poor as they were, but you got 11 pitches from the first 2 guys. You have runners on first and second, nobody out, just like that. JT Realmuto comes up, hits the hardest hit ball of the night for the Phillies, 111 off the bat, the triple. Teoscar Hernandez misplays it off the wall, really allows him to get to third. And in the blink of an eye, in 13 pitches, the Phillies are up 2-0. And it was like, all right, this is where you have to capitalize. Max Kepler comes up. He ends up grounding out, but he sees another 5 pitches. That's 18 through that inning. Bryson Stott comes up. He strikes out, but he gets to 22. Then, Harrison Bader comes up before that. 2 pitches, 22. So it's 24 pitch inning. Sack fly for Harrison Bader. You force Shohei to throw 24 pitches, and he scored the 3 runs off of it. That was the inning that we expected them to go, okay, now double down on it. Yep. And I'm not asking for another crooked inning, but if you can run another 24 pitch inning and scratch out a 4th, just a 4th run, you're feeling like you're heading in the right direction. And this may be where, hey, a really good pitcher unravels, or hey, Dave Roberts has to turn to his bullpen after 4 2/3 because he's now at 78 pitches into the 5th. Instead, the opposite happens, and the following inning, the Phillies go down 1-2-3. Trey Turner sees 4 pitches, grounds out. Kyle Schwarber sees 4 pitches, strikes out. Bryce Harper sees 3 pitches, strikes out. They go 11 pitches, 2 strikeouts, and a ground out.
Just an abysmal.
And the top of the lineup,
The
by the way.
complimentary baseball just didn't exist tonight. There was no, we get what we need out of the bottom of the order, like we keep saying, and there's no follow-up. It's just very much, it felt disjointed. It felt like they knew, it felt like they thought they were underdogs and had to overcome something. They had to go up and play the hero ball, like you said in pregame.
No hero ball. That was the whole point.
Just keep the thing moving as they were able to do in the 1 inning. And you'll eventually get that hanger that you're able to break the game open. Instead, they tried to do it before it was appropriate. And because of that, they had short at-bats. You allow Ohtani to stay in. You can turn it over to Glass now. And the one thing we needed, get to their bullpen, never happens.
Well, and I will say this, that you bring up like the hanging curveball or whatever it was. Shohei Ohtani had a couple of fastballs to Bryce Harper tonight. Now, granted, 100 miles an hour is hard to catch up to. I totally understand that. But he had a couple of fastballs pretty much right down the middle. Bryce Harper swung through. Tyler Glasnow had a couple of breaking balls, one to Kyle Schwarber that when Schwarber's on, he puts, 600 feet into the bleachers, right? He swung through it and missed and then ends up striking out. There was a couple of pitches tonight that I thought were the opportunity changers for the Phillies, and they swung through them.
It was just an outright ugly performance offensively. It feels like they got shut out even though they score the 3 runs. Like, those 3 runs just feel, all right, that was something, but it was a setup, and there was never a punchline to the setup.
No, I felt like they were pressing too. And if they're pressing in game 1, how do you not press in game 2?
Sure.
Because we're sitting here going, this feels like Groundhog Day. How the hell do they not feel like that, right?
We've been talking about how it feels different this year. This just feels like the vibes are a little better. We could see that team was out of gas at the end of last season against the Mets. This felt like a different year. And then, game 1, they're pressing as if they feel the ghosts of the previous failures. And it's baseball, man. You have to have a short memory. You can't be thinking, and I don't know that they were, but it felt that way.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Charlie Brown right now. I'm just like running towards Lucy with that football, convinced she'll just keep it there, and she didn't. She just ripped it apart. And now everyone's pointing, and they're laughing at me because I'm on my back.
All right, guys, we got a couple of minutes left. We have to break one more time. On the other side, we'll wrap this thing up. Big thank you to everybody who's hanging out with us today. It wasn't a whole lot of fun, but we'll try to put a positive spin on it if we can in the next 24 to 48 hours or so. But we do have one more break to hit. It's the PHLY Phillies podcast, the PHLY Phillies post-game show, and we'll be right back after this. All right, listen, you want to watch playoff baseball all the time, right? Your friend tells you to come on over. We got a bunch of games today. You got some pro football tomorrow. You got more postseason on Monday, and they tell you to come over and hang out and watch the games, and their setup, it's a mess. Lagging, buffering, switching between apps. It is all a disaster if you don't have Xfinity. And with Xfinity, you get incredible 4K sound and enhanced picture that is going to feel so clear that you're right there at the ballpark. And if you call yourself a baseball fan, you have to get Xfinity because it becomes the ultimate sports destination to find all of the best games and your favorite teams all in one spot. And on top of that, you get real-time notifications and stats updated live right there on your TV. Your couch is the best seat in the house. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to pay for parking or concessions or fight traffic after a 5-3 loss at the hands of Los Angeles. So next game day, make sure the big fan in your life isn't a big fail. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that.
Well, after that disaster of a game 1, I bet you want to feel like a winner. I bet you just want to go to bed feeling like you've won something tonight. Well, on the BetParx online casino app, there's always another way to win. Whether you're playing the BetParx exclusive Huff and More Puff or Fireblaze Sky Queen, or you want to get into some of those casino classics like Blackjack, Roulette, Craps, Poker, and Baccarat, or all their hot online slots like Cash Eruption, 88 Fortunes. There's slots based on your favorite streaming shows like The Walking Dead and Squid Game. I can speak.
You crushed that.
Yeah, I'm on fire tonight. Regardless of what you want to play, all of your casino favorites are at BetParx, and right now is the time to get in because new users can get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down in the first 24 hours. All you got to do, simple, go to BetParx.com and download the app right now and enjoy all the action and excitement from the casino at your fingertips. Must be 21 and in PA, Jersey, Maryland, or Michigan for BetParx. You love to play, you play to win, you bet. BetParx. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Would watching Squid Game have been a better use of our time tonight?
I mean, I finished it already.
I've never seen an episode, but I've heard it's really good.
It is good. Yeah. It's more enjoyable than what we did watch. Way less frustrating. Because you're not invested for months in the Squid Game. It's more like, all right, I'll give this a try.
2 weeks.
Whoa, what is going on in this show?
I got
That's nuts.
two weeks of dedication, and then I'm out.
That is very much the torture of postseason baseball. After 6 months, it can all end in a couple of days, and you're just hanging on every pitch. And like tonight, it felt like there was a chance until it all just evaporated.
You know, I feel like, you know, if we stay on the TV show thing for a minute, like Stranger Things, the last season, it's like, what, 4 years in between?
Yeah, the kids have Roth IRAs now.
I am going to have to go back and watch every single episode just to remember.
If only there was a channel that you could like watch a recap
and it's
on.
quite good. I enjoy it very much.
Yeah.
But I will say this, like at the end of those 4 seasons, I'm going to remember that, hey, I really enjoyed this show, and I'm going to look forward to season 5.
Yeah.
At the end of this season and into spring training, I'm going to have a lot of question marks if they don't kick things into gear very quickly.
I mean, so look, it's
horrible connection, I know. Super cheesy.
I don't think so. I think, look, they can turn this series around, all right? No doubt.
Sure, no question.
But right now, it feels a little like the last season of Game of Thrones. If we're going to use your analogy, it was a great lead up.
This is going to end and I'm going to hate it.
It was a great lead up. And then all of a sudden there's somebody over there with a water bottle and the kid who couldn't survive, falling 2 stories out of a building. Now he's in charge. What is going on? And that's what this feels like to me.
Can that kid be the manager for game 2?
Yeah, I mean, if he's a three-eyed raven, he can't be worse at some of the decision making. It just boggled my mind. Like anyway.
So John Clark posted this quote from Kyle Schwarber, and I got to be honest. I'm glad he took accountability, but it doesn't do me a whole lot right now. John Clark on Jay Clark NBCS on Twitter from NBC Sports Philly. Quote, me personally, I've got to do a better job with runners in scoring position. Like we said before, this is a series. We have to be able to learn and go on to the next game. Yeah, see, here's the problem. We've been saying this same quote with different words for 3 years now.
Yep.
And I feel like we got exposed brick behind us here.
Nice.
Like at some point, Juggernaut has to break through the wall, right? But I'm not Juggernaut. I'm just Tyler.
Not even close.
And I think I'm just going to smack my head off of that if I try to do it. And that's how I feel, is I'm just smacking my head against the brick wall.
There is, and like you said, it's 5 games. They need to win 3 of them. There's 4 left. They could turn this thing around. This could all turn around tomorrow. We've seen this offense kick it into gear.
Well, Monday.
Yeah, yes, not tomorrow.
We needed that day off.
Really
we
badly.
had to have that day
after the
off.
travel
The
day.
NFL
Now
is
they
king.
need a day to go get cheesesteaks.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? Yeah, like this could all turn around. They could win the next 3, and we're celebrating. I'm back here with you, and we're pumped. But right now, it feels like we've seen this so many times before. It's exactly what we feared. It's exactly what we thought wasn't going to happen. It's the thing we said feels different. Right now, it could be 23. It could be 24. I don't know.
So let me ask you this question as we're just about to wrap up here. I'm going to ask you a 2-part question. What is your confidence in Jesus Luzardo on Monday? What is your confidence in the team overall on Monday?
Confidence in the starting pitcher is high. Jesus Luzardo is very good, and the way he's able to just strike dudes out, get the big out when he needs it, I think is going to be very similar to Chris Sanchez tonight. But it's everything else. It's everything else that has failed them up to this point in the postseason. It's worrisome, but I can't pick against my guys yet.
I don't feel good. I mean, we're like an hour removed from that game, so no, I don't feel good. Now that could change come Monday, but if you're looking for a positive spin, Jesus Luzardo has never played in a big moment in his career, and he finally gets to do it. So there's a positive spin for you. Do I think he pitches well? I think he gives him 6 and gives up 3, probably. It's a question of, do I have faith in the offense? Hell no, I don't have faith in the offense, because how could I?
I think Jesus Luzardo is going to try to throw a fastball through JT's chest.
Yes, and I'm worried a little bit about he's so amped up because of the fact he's never played in a big moment. He also knows this team needs me now because our backs are against the wall, and he overthrows and overpitches, and next thing you know, it's a rough, he needs to get calmed down. I don't need to see Caleb Cotham till like the 6th inning.
He's got 1 postseason appearance, obviously with the Marlins, pitched against the Phillies, but it was kind of a low stress scenario in the fact that we all kind of knew
the Marlins.
That was a fake
the Phillies
series.
were
Yeah,
substantially better than the Marlins that year.
We have to play these games.
This game had to be played in the wild card round.
There's a reason why I said he has never pitched in a big game before. Like, it was cute that they were there. Jazz Chisholm said they were winning both. It was adorable.
Skip Schumacher probably should have won Manager of the Year that year.
Yeah, congrats to him on his new
He got a new job at the Rangers.
Yeah, that's cool, I guess.
All right, before we wrap up, and I know we're a little bit over, Ethan, I apologize. Do we need to hit OT? Oh, we have some super chats to get to. Do we have to hit OT in this show? All right, no OT.
Too late now.
Boss says so. We have some super chats to get to. Let's do that now, and then I want to talk about the other games really, really quickly. Frank Barber with a pair, so let's start with his first one. Hello, darkness, my old friend. It sure does feel like that, doesn't it?
Really
I'm not
does.
singing it because we might get copyright strike, although Andrew sings every day on Cuz's show.
Yeah.
It does feel very hello, darkness,
They're exempt
my old
from the
friend.
rules. They're
And then follows up with biggest concern from the game is Bader's health. Yeah, so Harrison Bader said
That's the other thing.
he's going to empty out the tank. He's going to do everything he possibly can to play. I'm not sure if a 24 or 48-hour turnaround is going to be enough.
I don't read that as a good thing. Like, it's a groin injury. This isn't like, oh, he took a ball, which he did. He took a ball. Then that's what you thought initially. It was off the wrist.
I thought it was the hand.
And the pickoff thing. Okay, that I go, yeah.
That swells up, you ice it, maybe it's all right.
He'll be fine. You saw Harrison Bader's defensive impact help this team in the second inning when he dove for that ball.
Excellent play.
I don't see that ending well, if he, quote, empties out. I love the fact he wants to be a gamer. I do. But that might end up being a hindrance to this team.
That ball that he caught was in the 4th inning? It was in the 3rd inning.
I thought it was like the second. Whatever.
I'm just trying to find out what the expected batting average on it was.
Yeah.
because I have to imagine it was pretty high.
It was during the game.
Let's
narrow it down from there.
He was full
Good start.
parallel. Like he was all the way. He has been one of the spark plugs for this team. He gets the RBI on the sack fly
And
tonight.
surprisingly, it was only
And
290. Thought it'd be
Really?
much higher than that.
That's surprising.
It was without him. There's even less reason to be optimistic because he has been one of the spark plugs for this offense through the second half. Really, when we've seen the offense blow up.
All right, one more super chat. Sorry, I was trying to lean in. I couldn't. My eyes are awful. So this comes from Isaiah. Isaiah says, Dodgers' biggest weakness is their struggling bullpen. Dave Roberts then proceeds to use ace starting pitchers instead. No other manager would do that. Well, I think that was kind of the idea coming into the playoffs, was to limit the amount of times that non-starters were going to have to pitch in the postseason, or out of the bullpen in the postseason. And I use Sasaki in that conversation because he was a starter earlier in the season. He's clearly their de facto closer right at this moment, but I'm going to put him in that conversation, and using Glasnow in that spot. Like, I wouldn't be stunned if Clayton Kershaw pitches out of the bullpen at some point in this postseason, because outside of Alex Vesia and, Anthony Banda, who was left off the NLDS roster, but is back, or was left off the wildcard roster, is back on the NLDS roster, and Dreyer, obviously they've not felt really great about Tanner Scott this year. They've not felt really great about Kirby Yates before the injury. He was very, very shaky this year. They've not felt great about Blake Trinan this year. If Dave Roberts can limit using, Trinan and Scott and some of the other guys, in the middle innings, he's going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, the Reds got back into the clinching game. They kind of got back into it a little bit because of the fact that they were facing legitimate relievers from the Dodgers. So if I was Dave Roberts, I'd be doing the same thing. Like, my bullpen sucks. Like, why would I go to my bullpen in a close game on the road? No, I have more faith.
Turn
in
to
my
Tyler
starters.
Glasnow.
The key to the game, though, is you turn to Tyler Glasnow, and everybody in the building goes, okay, he's going to try to get nine outs out of Tyler Glasnow. You were able to get him out of the game, and you actually were facing a legit reliever, and you couldn't take advantage of it. And at that point, that's when it was like, oh crap, this game's we're going to lose it.
Again, it comes back to that conversation about not a whole lot of moments, so far in the last couple of years.
No, and that's it's funny to see what the Dodgers were able to do with their bullpen, because it's something you and I talked about. When it looked like maybe Wheeler was going to be available for the playoffs, and maybe Nola will be at least acceptable. Maybe we can sneak him in to start a game, and we can use some of these arms out of the bullpen, and that really shores everything up to get it to Duran. The health is a concern now, and it's biting them.
All right, guys, real quick before we get out of here, let's just take a quick look around the rest of the league. Couple of significant blowouts today. I mean, the Brewers scored 9. They could have scored 19 if they wanted to. Beat the Cubs 9-3. Matt Boyd doesn't get out of the first inning. Toronto all over the Yankees 10-1, which at least give me some semblance of enjoyment tonight. And then right now 2-2, Detroit and Seattle in the 7th inning. So a couple of competitive games and a couple of not so competitive games. I have to be honest with you guys. I know everybody there was a lot of talk around this station and a lot of talk around Philly about, well, the Brewers are a good team, but no. The Brewers are a good team, period. They do all of the little things well. They hit with runners in scoring position. Their bullpen's really good. Freddie Peralta's a beast. And Pat Murphy's a really good manager. Like, there should be no comma but towards the end of that conversation.
We kept waiting for the regression all year, and here we are. It hasn't happened. I can't expect it to now.
Yeah, I remember laughing at one point during the season. It was probably like May. People were like, "Oh, you think the Phillies can reacquire Rhys Hoskins?"
He just left off the playoff roster.
I'm like, no, like Milwaukee will be contenders.
Right.
You're not giving him up at all.
Wait, I mean, you have a potential Rookie of the Year candidate. You have a potential, probably outside chance, but potential Cy Young vote getter in Freddie Peralta, and a bunch of dudes who don't strike out, run the bases well, take the extra bag. You saw in the first inning, Matthew Boyd had given up 4 or 5 hits before you could blink an eye, and it was just here's a single, here's a double, here's a base hit that finds no man's land, and they just do a lot of the little things well. This Brewers team is really, really good, and I think it's probably time to start giving them some credit that they rightfully deserve for being not only the best team in the National League record-wise, but the best team in baseball record-wise.
I'm not doing that.
Okay. All right, fair enough. How about Toronto? You want to give them any credit?
Nope.
Okay. All right. How about
I'm pro Canada.
How about Ethan Hartley? You want to give him some credit?
No, he was cool. Yeah,
All right.
I mean, I like he's a new friend. I just met him,
Yeah.
but he seems cool.
But from a production standpoint, he was pretty solid tonight.
Yeah, no, it was excellent job. Like the clicking of the buttons and the super chats and stuff, and he had that like one moment that was like one shining moment. That was Ethan when he got popped on camera and I saw his face. It was great. Someone
Thank
said
you.
he looked like Rick Wise. Like he
More clutch
shined.
than the Phillies.
Yeah, no, he shined.
All right, guys, that'll pretty much wrap it up for today's PHLY Phillies postgame show. Big thank you to everybody in the chat, whether you've been with us all season. I've seen a lot of people who I know very well who have been with us all year. I've seen some faces and some names that I've seen in other shows, like the PHLY Flyer show, which, by the way, 4 o'clock every day, Monday through Friday. And I've seen them, in different PHLY shows. And some Dodgers fans today, which, if you're going to be here, at least do me a favor and hit the like button, because we have almost 300 people watching and about 75 likes. I would love to get that to 100 if possible. And I know Bill is our ultimate shill for likes on this show, so I'm going to leave him to do this.
You're sitting here watching a program. It's over an hour.
Yeah.
Are you like, I didn't like it? Well, then you're a fool for sitting here and watching it. You clearly liked it. That's why you're still watching. So hit the like button. It takes literally 1 second.
Counter to that, I watched the Phillies today for 3 hours
And I didn't like any
it
of that.
at all. But your point is valid.
All right, big thanks to everybody in the chat. A big thank you to Ethan Hartley for producing today's show. That's Pat Egan. That's Bill Matz. I'm Tyler Zulli. The next time you get a chance to hear Bill, we'll be on Philadelphia Monday at 1:30. I'll be with him as well, and then we'll all be back for Pat and I will be back. I believe we will be joined by Rich Hoffman on Monday evening for the PHLY Phillies postgame show, Game 2. So Philadelphia 1:30 on Monday. Of course, Anthony Gargano show kicks things off at 9 o'clock, and then we will be back with pre and post game show for a 6:08 first pitch from Citizens Bank Park. Until that time, big thanks to everybody in the chat, and big thanks to these guys sitting next to me. We'll be back on Monday, 6 o'clock, right here on the PHLY Phillies podcast.
We all silly like the man.